Welcome to the Twin Flame Truth Podcast. I'm your host, Elle. Today's episode, we're going to be discussing, for those of you who've done everything right, why isn't anything shifting? You've done the work, you've listened to the podcasts, read the books, worked with coaches, you've applied everything you've learned, and yet here you are, still stuck in the same dynamic. Still not where you want to be with your twin flame or with your emotions, with your thoughts, and you can't figure out why. Because by every measure, you're doing everything right. You're serious about this journey. You're not someone who sits back and waits. You're active, committed, and invested. You've put in real time, real energy, and real money into understanding and working this journey. You're not a beginner. You know this material, and you're doing the work. And here's what, to you, doing everything right actually might look like. You've detached, or at least you've tried to. You've worked on yourself. You've focused inward on yourself. You've stopped reaching out to your twin flame as much. You've started meditating or journaling or working with your energy. You've done exactly what everyone told you to do. From the outside, it looks like you've got this handled. And before we talk about why nothing is shifting now from you doing any or all of those things, let's talk about why it used to appear to work, why action used to get results, why cause and effect from physical effort seemed real. Because here's the truth. It never really did work that way. That was an illusion created deliberately by your own soul. So the 3D physical world, everything you can see, touch, measure, and experience physically, is not actually real in the way we've been taught to believe. It's a hologram created by your soul as a kind of playland, a space to experience what it would feel like to be the opposite of what your soul actually is. Limited, temporary, dependent on outside influences, subject to fear, to lack, to loss. Your soul is none of those things. So it created a space where it could experience that. And part of that creation was the illusion of cause and effect. Do this to get that. Take action, produce results. Work hard, succeed. It felt real. It felt like those things, the cause and effect, were real because your soul designed it to feel real. The experience only works if you believe it. So your soul had to make it seem so real, had to make this whole entire 3D physical hologram seem 100% real so that you would believe it. Because it could never truly, fully immerse itself and experience the opposite of itself, which is exactly what it designed this whole hologram to do, and even your whole physical body to do. It would never be able to fully immerse itself, you, into this experience, to experience it fully, if you didn't buy into it, if you didn't believe it. But the twin flame journey, the soul recognition of the twin flame journey, is the moment your soul begins pulling back the curtain on its own creation. The old rules stop working. Action stops producing predictable results. Cause and effect from physical effort collapses. And you're left standing in the middle of everything you built, doing everything right, and nothing is shifting. And you, I'm sure, notice this regarding your twin flame situation, right? Things that have worked in other physical relating experiences and relationships with other people, or maybe even with your twin flame before you had that moment of soul recognition, worked like normal, right? Those things that would work. Like you text someone, they text you back. You experience an amazing time with someone. You both feel like you felt in love with each other. Someone doesn't just leave for no reason after spending the best time of their lives with you, right? When you would flirt, when you would even come around or try to reach out to them and for makeup sex or whatever. Shit like that always worked with other relationships and other people, but not with the twin flame. Once you've had soul recognition, everything you try to do to relate with them the way you would with anyone else, normally, quote unquote, just seems to backfire. And it does backfire. It is. It's pushing them further away because of the push-pull energy that's going on. But you notice how that adds to so much of the frustration here with this journey and the confusion, because things that would normally work with anyone else suddenly are not working. And depending how far along you are on this ascension path, whether you're kind of just beginning on your twin flame journey, or you've kind of expanded your ascension path beyond the twin flame journey, and I can guarantee you this is the same phenomenon. Things that used to work, trying to get something in the physical hologram by the old, usual, normal ways that we've been taught to get things, whether that's working hard, whether that's going out and, trying to get in contact with people or whatever. You're going to see in every area of your life, even after this twin flame journey, beyond this twin flame journey, it's all going to backfire too. Nothing's going to work anymore the same. Cause and effect just stops working. Where you were the cause, where you would go work harder to make more money, where you would go reach out to someone to hang out or whatever, or to help them, and it just backfires. Where you would be able to diet and just cut down on your calories to lose some weight. You'll find that doesn't even work anymore. It's just turning into one big paradox. But it is exactly that. It's a paradox. But it's not a failure. If you're feeling like things aren't shifting with this because of something you're doing wrong, that's not it at all. It's every single person on this journey, and it's the whole point of this journey, because your soul's done living in this playland. It's experienced enough of the fake, limited part of itself, or version of itself, I should say, and it wants to get back to its real self, where things in the physical world are not real, including any physical effort you exert to get something or earn something or make something. You can still create, that's not what I'm saying, but creation comes from the soul. It doesn't come from, your mind, gee, let me create something quick and sell it so I can get something, maybe money. Let me text someone so I can get a reply. Let me post something on social media so I will get reactions or comments from people. Do you see how all of that is doing something to get something back? And anytime we do something to get something back, that's fear. It's not love. And this whole entire physical hologram, where there's limitation, where there's time, where there's temporary stuff, where, there's just all physicality, things and dimensions and shapes and, boundaries, all of that is all just fear-based energy, because it's not real. Fear is never real. Love is real. Fear, not real. So the fact that cause and effect might not be working for you on your twin flame and beyond, again, is not a failure on your part. It's an awakening. Your soul is just showing you that the playland was never the real thing. And that the real thing, your actual power, was never located in the 3D world to begin with. Your power is not your mind, part of the physical 3D world, part of your body. Your power is not anything physical movements or kinetic movements of your body. It's not in your thoughts. It's not in your emotions. They're all part of the physical manifestation of you as a soul. But your power is in who you really truly are, which is your soul. And so now you know why the old rules stopped working. Here's the sneaky thing. And I kind of touched on this before, but here's what's still happening between all of your actions. Even when you're doing everything, quote unquote, right or correct, surrendering, detaching, focusing inward, working on yourself, whatever gurus and psychics and whoever else out there is telling you what to do, there's almost always an underlying intention running beneath it all. It's quiet but powerful. And I mentioned this earlier, but this is the key to take away from all of this. That underlying intention is a focus on getting an outcome, getting a result, getting some form of what you want in the physical world. And here's the energetic truth of that. That intention, even when it's completely unconscious, even when it's buried beneath all of the quote unquote right actions, is still pushing your energy outward toward your twin flame, toward the outcome, toward the physical form of what you want. It's sneaky. It disguises itself as doing the work. It looks like detachment from the outside. But energetically, it's still fear-based push energy. And it's still pushing your twin flame and everything else you want further away. There's a reason fear is synonymous with resistance. It resists and blocks everything that you desire to come in. And this is why nothing is shifting. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because beneath doing it right, there's still an energy that's unconsciously focused outward on a result. Still trying to make the physical 3D hologram do what you want. Still operating by the old rules of a world your soul has already begun to dissolve. Why is this so hard to see? Well, because it doesn't feel like pushing. It feels like hoping sometimes. It feels like trusting. It feels like believing. And those things are beautiful. And they're necessary in some aspects. But when they're attached to a specific physical outcome, they just become fear-based push energy without you even realizing it. This isn't something you can easily see in yourself. It's subtle. It's deeply embedded. It requires becoming aware of exactly where it's operating consciously and unconsciously, and then deliberately stopping it. Pulling that energy back into yourself, containing it within you rather than letting it leak and push outward toward an outcome that exists in a world your soul is showing you was never real to begin with. But here's what becomes possible when you stop pushing that energy out. When you stop pushing the fear-based energy outward, consciously and unconsciously, and instead contain it within yourself, something profound happens. You shift into your power. And your power isn't separate from love, abundance, and truth. They're all the exact same frequency. They're all your soul. They're what you actually are when you're not pushing energy away from yourself towards something outside of you in a holographic world. You are those things. Soul, love, abundance, truth, power, freedom, creation. And I mean, there's a whole list of others, but also your twin flame. That's who you are. All the frequency of who you truly are. And here's the paradox that changes everything. You can't be in that space of who you truly are, in that frequency of your power, of love, of your twin flame, of abundance, of peace, of truth, and simultaneously wanting to produce a result in the physical 3D world hologram. The instant you want to change something is the moment you've left the frequency of your soul and everything that you desire. Because you want all those things. That's what you desire, truly. Who doesn't? Who doesn't want love and power and peace and abundance and joy? Oh, I forgot to mention joy before. Joy, truth, freedom, creation. Who doesn't want all of that? Everyone wants it. Everyone just thinks they want it in physical world form. But you already are it. See, when you're in your power and you're just being in your power, being in alignment with your true frequency, your soul, there is no agenda. There's no outcome. There's no destination. It simply is. And it's only from that place, with no attachment to what it produces, that real change in your physical world becomes possible. Not because you made it happen, but because you stopped pushing it away. And this is the most important thing to understand. You're not trying to change the hologram from inside the hologram. You're stepping outside of it entirely into the place where you actually created it. And from there, from your true power, the hologram responds. And it's not because you forced it or made it do anything, but because you remembered what you actually are. This isn't something you can think your way into. It can't be willed or forced or understood into existence. It has to be felt, resonated, shifted, recognized, and transmuted at the level of the soul where it actually lives. First, you become aware of where your energy is pushing out, even in the subtlest ways. Then you stop it. Consciously at first, and then at deeper unconscious levels, because the energy gets smaller and smaller and less obvious the more you do this, which is great, because that's what we're doing. We're shrinking it, we're transmuting it. And then once you become aware of it, you can contain that energy within yourself. And from that contained place, you shift. You begin to feel what it's like to be in your power with no agenda, no outcome, no result attached to it. And that moment's real. That frequency is real. And it's amazing. And once you've felt it, even briefly, you know it exists inside you. You know it's possible. And that changes everything. So, if you've been doing everything right and nothing has shifted, now you know why. The actions were right, but beneath them, the energy was still pushing outward toward an outcome. Still trying to change a hologram from inside a hologram. Still operating by the rules of a world your soul has already begun to dissolve. The shift doesn't happen at the level of action or thoughts or feelings or words. It happens at the level of your soul. And it begins the moment you become aware of where your energy is actually going and what it's still trying to do inside a world that was never real to begin with. This is deep. This is deep advanced stuff here. But if this resonated, I want to invite you to something. As of the time of this recording, on April 23rd, 2026, at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm holding a live workshop called In Bloom, Activating Your Love, Power, and Abundance Frequency. In the first part of the workshop, we'll work through exactly what I just described, becoming aware of where your energy is pushing out consciously and unconsciously, and how to stop it. And then how to draw it back into yourself and contain it within you. In the second part, we'll do an actual energetic activation where you get to feel, even if just for a moment, what it's like to be in that space, in your power, in your love, in your abundance, in your truth, in your joy, in your peace, in 100% loving alignment with your twin flame and your soul, your true self, with no agenda, no outcome, just the frequency itself, the love, power, and abundance that you actually are when you're not pushing it away. And I want to be honest with you. This won't be a permanent transformation in 2 hours, but it's real. It's a real and genuine glimpse of what's possible inside you and what's there now and who you truly are. And once you've felt it, even once, everything changes. We have early bird pricing for the workshop, which ends on April 17th. VIP spots are available, but are extremely limited. So click the link. Find the link to register is around in the show notes, the description, wherever you're listening to this from. And I would love to see you there. Thank you for listening. Lots of love.